Go Tanks. That's what Jade reminds me of. Go Tanks. Thank you to our final patrons, Sinners Lancelot, Praise the Sun, Strawbones, and Aaron. Now, before we get into this breakdown of Chapter 70 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, please do a favor and leave your own list on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. You can support for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I'm the Pouncer, and here we are to Chapter 70 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, which is known as the King Who Started. I'm just kidding. The Traitor's Blade. And, you know, considering this is a former Knight of Leonis who does work for Camelot, they are quite literally a traitor with a blade that they're turning against Leonis. So the chapter kind of boring right now. However, let's hop right into it. So we open up, and we do get to see that Kion and Jade aren't ready for battle. But of course, while they are ready for battle, they have something a little bit more pressing on their mind. The fact that this person is here to reclaim a prisoner. And the word reclaim is very interesting, especially considering what happens chapter or two down the line. Once again, hindsight is 20/20. But I wonder if they know which specific prisoner. Because notably, Kion is a lot more informed than I initially thought he was when we were first introduced to him. Like, he knew all about Tristan. Well, not obviously Tristan, but he knew all about Percival, Dragon Handle being recovered. Like, he has a lot of information that some people clearly don't have. But, I don't know, it's interesting. I wonder if they know the prisoner, if any of them were meant to interrogate him next. But we do get to see that this Holy Knight of Camelot lunges towards them and is instantly ready to get up in their guts. Like, swings, Kion is forced to block, swings again, and Jade is forced to block. Once again, pretty impressive that these two, admittedly, like, I know they're Holy Knights, but still, they're relatively young, are able to throw off someone this experienced if they were a former Holy Knight of Leonis. But, admittedly, both of them are knocked back, and it's revealed that this person definitely has an edge against them. Though, interestingly, like, Jade, bro, many people have said it before, but you are in the middle of a war with Camelot, or at least you guys are not on the friendliest terms. The fact that you're worried about chivalry is kind of crazy. I mean, the fact that she didn't just immediately attack the both of you and annihilate you is enough information to show you that she is actually kind of chivalrous versus just straight up leaving, which is what I would have done in Diddley. I would have even fought you two. You know, to her. 4. However, even with Jade's whole, like, obsession with chivalry, Kion's first thing is like, oh, well, gotta let you Willikers. I guess we have to work together, huh? I love how, like, once again, Jade should not have been the one to interrogate Kion. I don't know. Still, I find it hilarious that Kion's like, huh, well, looks like you can't even begin to win without me. Guess you can't keep those cuffs on me, huh, my boy? And Jade just doesn't even realize it. And I love how the knight, probably due to their former relationship with Camelot, is not necessarily going all out against these two still. Like, they don't even use any magic in that first slash, which they very easily could have. And they're essentially teaching them, because it's like, the knight straight up says, come on now, it's called initiative victory. It's one of the basic principles of battle, you know? And it does make sense. Like, now I think about it, there was really no one in Seven Deadly Sins, at least any of the high tiers, that really cared about chivalry. They would hit you. And they would hit you hard. And they would hit you fast, too. Like, you gotta remember, Escador, when he first showed up, the moment he was able to, he straight up grabbed Rita, laughed in Galen's face, and went, like, yeah, I remember, when Meliodas first showed up, he straight up went up to Twigo, who then immediately attacked him and went full counter, bada bing, bada boom, got one shot. Like, chivalry doesn't matter. Chivalry doesn't exist. Take that initiative victory, dog. But we do get to see that Kion, the evil and manipulative man he is, he's like, initiative victory is what you called, Doesn't defending against the initiative remove the point of it? And no, Kion, it's just like basic combat. Like, okay, you blocked the first attack. What will I do? Oh no, I know. I'll attack you again. It ain't that complicated, dog. But of course, we see that Kion, he may just be stalling here, playing a mental game, because he immediately goes, hey, yo, so, get him in there, guts real quick, you know what I'm saying, baby girl, annihilate her inner organs. I know you can do it, Mile. Like, I really wonder, he's probably quiet enough that no one can really tell, but when you put your fingers up to your mouth in this world of magic, I feel like anyone with you don't even, one battle of experience against anyone who wields magic, and anything that looks out of the ordinary or isn't a basic sword or weapon stab, I'm gonna attack you just because I don't know what you're going to do. That's the scariest thing about worlds with magic, because unless there's like some universal magic law or magic system that everyone has to abide by, there's just random stuff that could happen. So anything out of the ordinary would have me on edge, even from the most random of people. Like, even if I saw Percy and I saw a mini Percy floating by him, I gotta strike him. Because I don't know what that thing's gonna do, especially with the levels of variation of magic. Like, look at Snatch. Snatch is insane, and you just wouldn't be able to tell because Bond doesn't have any openings. Look at Gothar's magic. Invasion is nuts, but all it looks like is some purple light at first. And there are all these random signals and hand signs that they do and use. And I don't know, I'd be horribly on edge in the Seven Deadly Sins world just because of how diverse the magic system is. But we actually do get a translation for Kion's magic. It's not an actual word. It's Tifoff. I'm not sure. But it is in that same language that he always uses, which makes me wonder, is that a specific incantation language? Or is that the same language that Belialwyn used? But Belialwyn's language was a lot more sharp and defined. At least Merlin's supposed real name was. Is it the same thing that Percy was speaking in? It kind of looks similar. I don't know. Very interesting how all these different magics sort of co-align. Even though, ironically enough, goddesses, demons, humans, fairies, and giants, they all speak the same language. Like, despite literally living, in some cases, in entire separate realms, they all speak, I guess, whatever you're reading the manga in English. Like, the fact that there are other languages here that likely correspond to magic, interesting. Though we do get to see that while he tries to cast it, summon that Sylphie boy to the real world, and nothing actually happens. Like, he struggles, and Jade's like, cat got your tongue or something? Why is this person not choking? And we see that kind of struggling, Teo, like trying to get the sylph out, but apparently he can't articulate. And the spirit arts that he uses require the most precise pronunciations in the entire magic system. So many, like, spirit arts, magic system, oh my lord, precise pronunciations. Like, there's so much that was just revealed about the Seven Deadly Sins magic system right there that I know we're never going to get a full establishment on, because we aren't reading Hunter x Hunter or JoJo's or JJK. We will not get an explanation of what any of that means. They're just words, but they're intriguing words. Though, interestingly enough, with that being the case, I wonder who taught Kion spirit arts, because I doubt this is just his own innate magic, considering this is part of the quote-unquote magic system. That means there are other users of it, right? So, I wonder who taught him. And I wonder if there are, like, different levels, because notably, we've only seen him summon, like, baby sylphs. Or not, maybe not. We don't know how big these sylphs can get. But the little wind guy wasn't that big, and the rock guy he used to crush that one dude in Gawain's armor also wasn't necessarily gigantic. So I wonder if the spirit arts can, like, really go nutty, go crazy, because I don't think we ever really saw a spirit arts user in the previous series at all. I'm trying to think of anyone who relied on summons outside of Melascula, but Melascula summons were like dead people and demons. Like, there weren't necessarily anything like Kion, what Kion does. So, intriguing. I wonder if we're ever going to get more elaboration on that. It really depends on if Kion stays relevant within the narrative. But we do see that I love how Jade is trying to be encouraging. He's like, Kion, keep it together. But it comes off as like his tongue is swelling and he's choking up on cold air. And Jade even straight up drops his sword and he's like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. My fingers! I can't feel it. Is this a cold wave? Why is it so frosty? It's not winter yet. Do they get winter? They have to get winter. Did it ever? Yeah, it snowed. It snowed in Britannia before. Never mind. But he straight up asks, is this a cold wave? What's going on? And notably, Kyan can even tell. He's like, yo, my body temperature is dipping. Is it really from that blocked attack? Which is pretty crazy that the like button and subscribe button are free. But also the fact that all it took was them blocking an attack. They didn't even get cut or anything. Just them simply holding their weapons, which made contact with this knight, is causing them to freeze. Their own body temperature is dropping, and they're literally slowly turning to ice statues. And Kyan and Jade both literally acknowledge that, whoa, if this keeps up, in no time at all, we'll just be ice statues, which is pretty darn crazy. Once again, from pure contact. That's a pretty good hack. So immediately freeze your opponent after simply interacting in their general space. Pretty wild. However, if we get to see that the knight just begins to walk off, like, alright, y'all gave it your best shot. I respect the hustle, but I'm going to be on my way now, if you don't mind. But while Jade is like, you evil individual, don't leave us here, which, I don't know, Jade just seems so flat and corny. Like, he feels like every generic side character ever. That's what Jade feels like, with Gotenks hair. That's the only thing that makes Jade unique. That Gotenks hair, it does go a little bit crazy. However, we see something that I didn't think we were ever going to see again. That's a lie. I was waiting for us to see it again. But a bomb flies on, well, and a blast of magic. And notably, as the blast of magic blazes on by, the knight in the armor turns and immediately gets smacked in the face with Drift Bomba. And we see that the explosion that comes from that tiny little bomb is massive. Is it as big as Percy's explosion? No. But also, they're fighting underground, and the caster of this drift bomb very likely would not want to destroy the integrity of possibly the castle or whatever dungeon they're in. But still, the level of explosion they manifest is crazy. And it blows everybody back. And we see that the explosion and the heat of said magic starts to overwhelm and override the ice magic that was under effect. Like, the fact that there was so much heat in such an immediate vicinity shut down any of the effects of the knight's magic that was used on them. Very, very interesting. And we see that the person who came to save them is like, you know, I really wish she was not spitting, but yeah, she ain't capping. This is a little bit of beyond your pay grade right now, so y'all can back up if you don't mind. And we get to see that both of them recognize this individual. And they're like, no way, Knight, it's you, Vice Great Captain Holy Knight, Gila. And Gila looks fire. I ain't even gonna lie to you, not just for the fact that the end of her blade is on fire, but the fact that her new design looks good too. And it's not necessarily that different. Like, I think all she did was put on lipstick and get a new armor set. But still, the new armor, the exploding blade tip, the fact that the lipstick, I don't know, the slight differences, she looks a lot more refined than she did before. Even in her, like, much more bulky armor that she had during the Holy War, this is a lot smoother and more clean of a design. Though I don't necessarily get the heart motif on her. Like, I think an explosion motif would have looked a lot better. I don't know. I don't think her magic or anything she does necessarily symbolizes love. It may have been something... The only hypothetical excuse I see is that her brother, who is now a blacksmith, crafted it for her. And he wanted to be like, this is my expression of my love for you, sister. Not in that way, but this is my expression of my love. So here, take it, wear it, and show how you love me, and spread your love to the rest of the world as the Vice Great Captain Holy Knight. That's the only excuse I can make. Because notably, if I were to redesign Gila and give her, like, Gila-specific armor that matches her magic, it would pretty much be the exact same design, except replace all the hearts with, like, not explosions, but, like, 8-pronged stars. Like, have that dotted everywhere and have that be the main motif. The fact that it's hearts, a little bit weird. However, it's great to see Gila, and it's great to see that she's the Vice Great Holy Knight Captain. Just Vice Great Holy Knight. Which leads me to believe that it's Gilthunder, if it is a dual system still, because we know that Hauser is the captain of the Holy Knights, so maybe Gilthunder just isn't involved with the Holy Knights anymore, considering he is in the castle and unarmored. But at the same time, interesting that she never ascended higher. I know she didn't have the same latent potential as both Gilthunder and Hauser. They were much stronger than her. She is a new generation. She was not that powerful before, but still, very, very interesting. And we see as she steps forward, we get a whole lore dump on her, like an insane lore dump. Like, at age 22, but Hold on. Let me get the Kion voice real quick. At age 22, she became the first female Vice Great Holy Knight Captain in Leonis. Even now, after 10 years, her sword arm is still among the kingdom's top class. More importantly, they say her composed judgment and intellect on the battlefield exceed even more than the great Holy Knight Captains. What's more fearsome is her magic. They say it burned away many a demon in the Holy War. Explosion! Incidentally, rumor has it that she and the great Holy Knight Captain Hauser fell in love and separated after 3 mere days. But the truth is uncertain. Once again, Kion just an infinitely more unique character than Jade will ever be. And he stopped clowning on Jade. It's not like he's done anything wrong up to this point. He hasn't done anything right either. But though, it's cool to see that Gila does get some recognition for what she's done. Though, this is a double-edged sword, right? I feel bad for the Demon Clan for still being victimized all these years later. But then again, they did. Under orders, it was under orders, but still, they did terrorize all of Britain. The whole landscape they did kind of overrun and destroy. Admittedly under orders. So it does make sense that Gila, in our case, a hero of the Holy War, who slayed many a demon with her explosion magic, would be pretty highly regarded by Holy Knights like Kion and Jade, because not only her position, but her experience. She's one of the major, at least outside of the Sins, one of the major warriors that was on the front line of the Holy War 16 years past. Makes sense. It makes sense. Very interesting how Kaya just has a book. Does he have pockets? Hold on, let me go back to Kyan's design. Does he have pockets anywhere? Where does he keep that darn thing? He doesn't have pockets from what I can tell. Where does he keep that little booklet? Because, he's reading. He's reading straight from the book. It's ironically enough, it reminds me of Midoriya's, hero book that he used to have. He just has this. The Holy Knight Directory. That exists. Who writes that? Who does it? It has to be Elizabeth or Thetis, whoever that person is, because there's just no good way on this good green earth that Kaya just compiled a Holy Knight Directory and now keeps it on his person. I don't know. It's so funny. Even Jade is like, yo, Kaya, really? Is now the time? The Holy Knight Directory? You really whipping that out right now? Though admittedly, it's good to see a less... Is Machiavellian the right word? A less menacing Kion and one who's more, funny. Every character needs balance, and this is Kion's balance. So, you know what? We'll take it. Then we do get to see that Jade is obviously questioning, wait, Vice Great Captain Holy Knight. What in the world are you doing here? This seems like such a random time. And we see that Gila came here because all the turmoil outside appears to be a blatant diversion. And Gila is essentially stationed there just in case the diversion was meant for this. Since they know that there is a recently captured prisoner and that all the fighting outside may just be a distraction, every single vital point is likely being guarded by some sort of Holy Knight. Meliodas is guarding Bartra. We have Gila stationed here in the dungeon. And I can't necessarily think of any other major vital points that they would be guarding, especially considering their low number, because Grimoire is in here. Guild Thunder's with Meliodas, and he wasn't even armored up, so he may be somewhere. And I don't think Hauser's is back yet. He's still rebuilding that place, that town. So I'm not sure where else could be guarded. So it makes sense to use your resources wisely. And I love how, despite the massive explosion, there's just praise being tossed about towards Gila. The knight is like, oh, wow, you made it up to Vice Great Holy Knight. W respect, W growth. And we see that the massive explosion was blocked with Freeze Shield. And, I wonder, golly willikers, I wonder who, out of all the individual knights we saw from the previous series, would hypothetically be a traitor. Who, indeed, would have access to ice magic. What an interesting conundrum we find ourselves in here, boys and girls. Very, very interesting. But why is the shield not solid? And looks nowhere near big enough to stop that entire explosion. Explosions expand. At least your feet should have been hit. Your feet are literally exposed by that shield. Maybe the explosion hit the center of the shield, but even then, it should have ricocheted. Like, the explosion should have reached around. But regardless, it's a very cool defensive spell. Free shield is nice. However, we do get to see that with this, both knights walk towards each other. Obviously, they're the only two equals here, so they about to throw hands, or throw blades, I guess, so they can't really throw hands. And one of my favorite things here is that Gila doesn't even need to question it. Sure, this person still has their star visor on. This is the person that Lancelot's looking for, but she knows exactly who it is. To the point where she's like, wow, you know, it's such a shame. I think I'd meet an old colleague again like this in all ways. And that just makes me wonder, golly gee willikers, just who could it be? This is such an intriguing plot twist. I'm just blown away. But we do get to see that Kyan and Jade are like, wait a minute. Colleague. So they weren't Cap'n. They truly are a former knight of Leona. Why would they lie about that, though? Like, of all the things to focus on, you don't ask which colleague, who, do we know them, what, huh, where, wow, up, down, left, right, why? It's just that they weren't Cap'n. Like, that's such an innocuous detail to lie on. And, like, how else would they know where to go if they weren't a former Holy Knight of Leonis? I mean, I guess maybe the dungeon's pretty obvious to find, or maybe the person that they're hunting down has some sort of tracker on them, but of all the details to lie about, that one seems strange. And it's weird how... Have they really not fought in 16 years? Like, knowing who this is, because I've read the chapter, and I'm from the future, but, like, knowing who this is, has it really been 16 years? Hold on, let me go check something. They really haven't sparred since that last time we saw them spar at the end of the series? Even then, wait a second, hold on. Alright, never mind, it may really have been 16 years. Let me shut my mouth. But these two go to spar, and once again, Nagaba, I love his character work, but another thing he's really, really good at is action. Because I love how, to display the speed, he leaves the silhouette of the Star Visor Knight, and then you see the real body of Star Visor Knight move to the left, or in their case to the right, and the battle just immediately begins. Like, she straight dips up to the wall, leaps down and slashes, but Gila immediately leaps onto the wall herself. Like, it shows the... How do I put it? One of my favorite things about Jujutsu Kaisen, I know, completely random leap. One of my favorite things about Jujutsu Kaisen is how it shows off slight superhuman things. Like, I love Dragon Ball, but one of the things is that it sort of disconnects me on the action front in most of the more modern era, mainly because it's just flying, blasts, punches, and I'm not saying there isn't choreography there that's good. Trust me, there is. You can go check my Dragon Ball Super reviews for that. But it loses me to a point, because I just can't see humans doing something like that and, like, finding a superhuman. But what Jujutsu Kaisen and Nakaba especially does, well, I'd say Jujutsu Kaisen especially and Nakaba does, especially well, is it has those moments where it's superhuman enough that it's beyond human limitations, yet it's still within grasp. Like, I can see a person hardcore parkouring up to a wall, kicking off the wall, and another person hardcore parkouring onto the opposing wall as they dodge their sword slash. It's really, like, tangible action is something, I suppose. Something that feels real, something that I feel like I could see. Meanwhile, like, people flying around destroying planets is something I just physically can't see happening. Someone grabbing another individual and slamming them through a building? Yeah, I can see that happening. Someone hardcore parkouring off walls? Yeah, I can see that happening. And I love it when Nakaba does this. In a close quarters space, these two are forced to utilize their environment to their advantage. And I love how when the knight misses their first swing, Gila immediately capitalizes and tries to stab at them with her rapier. But the knight is able to parry as Gila clears to the other wall, like straight leaps in midair, lands, and then the Star Visor Knight has their blade swung back over their head as Gila squats into it. And both of them activate their magic. It's like progressive growth in the battle too. First, one is attacking while the other avoids. Then both are attacking. Then they both lean back, realize that basic combat isn't going to do it for either of them, and they both burst into their magic. Flame Rapier and Free Saber, they just immediately explode with their magical force, and they clash. I don't know. I think it's cool. And I love how the difference in their attacking style comes in to show who lands the hit on who first. Like, since Gila has one arm and is simply stabbing outward, she can maximize more of her range in comparison to the Starvisor Knight, who, since they're wielding two-handed, has to get in a lot closer, which is why the explosion just barely grazes past their head. Meanwhile, Gila seems almost completely unaffected by the Free Saber because it's sort of out of her range. And we see how, once again, the levels to power in the Seven Deadly Sins verse. Like, these two, you wouldn't catch me saying they're Seven Deadly Sins here. Unfortunately, if we're going to go off Hauser's, like, stated area of location, like he's stronger than Matrona, he's not even really commandment tier. And I'm assuming that both the Starvisor Knight and Gila are at best Hauser level, considering Hauser was stronger than both of them in the past. So with that being the case, they aren't really like anywhere near top tiers or high tiers. At best, they're low mid tiers. But even then, to people like Kion and Jade, their power is just so overwhelming. Like, they're mere clashing because this burst in temperature and force that pushes the two back. And we see that Kion's like, okay, I signed up to protect Lord Tristan, not to die. We need to go, Jade. And Jade is like, come on, man, you're a holy knight. What are you doing? We can't run from this. And he even tries to tell Gila that, wait, Lady Gila, this is cool and all. I love seeing you guys fight, but we are fighting underneath a roof that may come down on us if you keep fighting like this. And notably, I like how the kingdom has thought ahead of this. Like, Gila's like, don't worry about this. The ceiling's gonna stay up because we casted a barrier around here, so it's kind of built for battles, which makes me hope that these catacomb areas, even though it's very unlikely, I don't think we're ever going to come back to this location after chapter 72, but I would like it if more areas that had these tight confined spaces or these limiters were magically reinforced so we could get more interesting fight choreography. I love fighting on big, massive open plains as much as the next guy, and just absolutely annihilating any other terrain, so it is just a giant, flat, massive plain as much as the next guy. But at the same time, environments that are made sturdy enough to survive battles leads to a lot more interesting choreography. Like that whole exchange we got between Gila and the Starvisor Knight wouldn't have happened if they were anywhere else. They wouldn't have the footholds and the location to use that, and they wouldn't be in such close proximity to each other, which leads to a lot more interesting battle when both of these combatants are likely very capable of using ranged attacks. I don't know, simple things that I like. But we do get to see that the Starvisor Knight wastes no time. It's like, damn, Gila, let me know real quick. Are you really entitled enough to look away from me right now? And she lunges in. And I love how dynamic it is, right? Because Gila just shows off that she on something special. Because the Starvisor Knight goes to pretty much decapitate her. Like, if Gila didn't move her head in time, her head would have been gone. But she just manages to dodge it by crouching down. And I love how the Starvisor Knight instantly, like, combos. Like, if we were to see this whole interaction in motion, hopefully the anime isn't awful. But, like, if we were to see this whole interaction in motion, I'm assuming what happens is the Starvisor Knight swings around, and then once it misses, swings behind and overhead slams down, which Gila dodges away from. Once again, very, very, very fluid action, and I love the particle effects on the blade that's being swung, the Free Saber. I think it's really, really cool. And I love how Gila just backflips away, only to land into the backflip and then charge right back in. Once again, this fight is constant dynamism, movement, explosiveness. There's not a moment of rest, and I think that's great. Nakubo, once again, is one of the best at keeping action alive and flowing panel to panel. It's very, very smooth. And notably, I'm not the best with panel direction. Like, I forget who was explaining it. Someone was explaining in one of their videos why Full Metal Alchemist also has amazing paneling and how Arakawa Sensei does a fantastic job of just guiding the reader through panels. But one of my favorite things is, since you read manga right to left, the top of the page where the Starvisor Knight swings has the blade line going right, which draws you down to the right panel. And then the Starvisor Knight swings downward to the left side of the panel, which leads to the next panel. And then you have the impact of the panel, the smoke of the panel, guiding you down to the right back of the panel. And then Gila is on the left side of the panel when the bottom right, and then she lunges into the right, which turns you to the next page. Though, interestingly enough, It kind of falls apart there right at the very end because you're charging back to the right, but if you're reading manga right to left, it would be better if Gila charged the opposite direction to lead you into the next page. Though admittedly, weirdly enough, the way I'm reading it, does work out that she goes that way because I have to hit the right arrow to go next. Oh no, nice paneling work, Nakaba. Also, like button is free. So is the subscribe button. Just letting you know. But regardless, we do get to see that Gila in this lunge succeeds massively. She straight stabs directly into the helmet of the Star Visor Knight, completely catching them off guard. And notably, Kion, don't you get squeamish now? What the heck? Like, I get Jade's absolutely terrified reaction. I highly doubt Jade has gone out there and gotten someone up out of here, sent them to the capital of the dead or purgatory, if you know what I'm saying, But at the same time, Kion, why do you look shocked that this person was just impaled through the head? Didn't you, I know you want to do that to pretty much every single one of the knights. You literally tried crushing one to death. Dude, you have no right to look disgusted here. Jade earned it. Though we do get to see that while Gila did directly impale the top of the helmet, I feel like she purposefully didn't aim lower. Because she immediately goes into conversation. The action stops and he's like, didn't you swear to yourself on that day? You said you would carry the will of your older brother who gave his life protecting you and surpass him as a holy knight. And then, somehow, some way, like this is a massive explosion that tears open the helmet. And we see the helmet crack and fall. And somehow the person within the helmet is just completely unharmed. Like, jeez. I wish I could face tank explosions like that. Yeah, legit Willikers. But we do see that Gila's just straight up questions. Okay. Level with me. Why did you do it? Why have you fallen to evil? Why are you one of Camelot's holy knights? Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. And we hear the woman question. Evil. I'm sorry. Evil. And then we get to see that Kion does recognize her. He knows her since when she was little. Well, he recognizes her because he saw her when she was little. Which makes me question, how have these two not fought in 16 years? If she was around since when Kion was a kid, I'm assuming Kion's the same age as Tristan. I'm pretty sure. They didn't spar at all? I don't know. But we do get to see that Gila goes on to explain that, yeah, this is someone from Leonis' new generation holy knights, just like me. The teacher to Lancelot of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, Jericho. A NANI dice Kashkino. And man, once again, I've said this in a previous video before, but I don't know. Seven Deadly Sins women just don't do it for me, so she's not my best girl. But for everyone who has her as her best girl, golly gee willikers, man. Golly gee willikers. I can see why. I can definitely see why. However, NANI dice Kashkino, Jericho, evil. I wonder why. I bet it's for the most perfect, sane, clean, and sanitary reasons. Nothing awful, nothing horrible, and nothing disgusting. Right, Nakaba? However, that's where the chapter ends. Notably, this chapter is mostly action. While it does directly reveal and coincide with the reintroduction of Gila into the narrative, and it shows Kion and Jade starting to work together just because of how powerful Jericho is, it sort of ends up forcing the chapter into a much more rapid progression. We don't learn exceptionally much here other than the fact that Jericho is the Star Visor Knight and Gila's here. That's about all we get. However, that doesn't make this a bad chapter. It still is pretty solid. However, those are my thoughts. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below and support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.